People reveal themselves in what they say, but you'll miss the warning signs if you're not paying attention. Today, we're breaking down 7 phrases that expose fake support, hidden resentment, and emotional manipulation. And more importantly, how to respond like a Stoic warrior, calm, clear, unshaken. 1. You've changed. You hear it after you've grown, after you've set boundaries, after you've said no to being taken advantage of. They say it like it's an insult, as if you owe it to them to stay broken, silent, or small. But what they're really saying is, you're no longer easy to control. Seneca taught that life is constant motion. To grow is to live. To resist change is to rot. Psychology backs it. Personal growth activates resistance in those who benefited from your self-neglect. When someone says, "You've changed," don't defend yourself. Don't explain. Just nod. Because they're right. You have changed. You're no longer the version of yourself that tolerated disrespect. And if that makes them uncomfortable, let them go. You don't owe the past your future. 2. I was just joking. You call them out for the passive-aggressive jab. They laugh it off. Relax, I was just joking. That's not a joke, that's a test. They're checking how much disrespect you'll swallow under the mask of humor. Marcus Aurelius warned, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." And that includes the thoughts we tolerate from others. Psychology calls this covert aggression, hidden insults dressed up as playfulness. But your nervous system knows better. You feel the sting, you feel the shift in energy. A Stoic doesn't explode or play along. A Stoic sees through it and responds with silence or a direct boundary. If someone has to tear you down to feel taller, walk away. Their joke is a weapon, and you were never meant to be the punchline. 3. No one else has a problem with it. This phrase is manipulation in disguise. You confront an issue, you speak your truth, and instead of being heard, you're isolated. No one else has a problem with it. Translation: you're the problem. This tactic is called gaslighting by consensus. They use imaginary others to discredit your perception. The Stoics warned us about this. Epictetus taught that your judgment, not the crowd's opinion, defines your reality. You are allowed to have standards. You are allowed to speak up. If something feels wrong, it is wrong for you. Never let someone use invisible opinions to silence your voice. If they dismiss you by weaponizing the crowd, it's time to leave the crowd behind. Your truth doesn't need a group vote. 4. You're too sensitive. You share how something hurt. They shrug it off. They don't reflect. They don't care. They say, "You're too sensitive." That's not feedback. That's emotional dismissal. Psychologists call this invalidating your emotional reality. It's a tactic to shut you down, to make them feel powerful and you feel ashamed. But Stoic philosophy tells a different story. The Stoics didn't fear emotion. They controlled it. They channeled it. They didn't suppress truth. They faced it. If you're sensitive, that means you have awareness. Sensitivity isn't weakness. It's data. It tells you who to trust, who to walk away from, and when your boundaries have been crossed. Don't let the emotionally immature gaslight your intuition. You're not too sensitive. You're too awake to tolerate numb people pretending they're strong. Silence is the right response, and distance is the cure. 5. You owe me. Those 3 words are chains. You did something out of kindness. You helped. You sacrificed. And now they bring it up like a receipt, not to thank you, but to control you. You owe me. That's not love. That's leverage. The Stoics taught that virtue lies in intention, not transaction. If someone helped you with strings attached, it wasn't virtue. It was strategy. Psychology calls this emotional debt manipulation. It keeps you locked in guilt, saying yes when you should be walking away. Real relationships don't operate on scoreboard thinking. If someone keeps reminding you of what they've done for you, it's not generosity, it's ownership. And you are not for sale. Gratitude is noble, but guilt is a leash. Cut it. Because you don't owe anyone your peace, your silence, or your soul. 6. If you really cared, you'd. This line is emotional blackmail, a trap disguised as love. If you really cared, you'd do what I want. It forces you to choose your values or their approval, and either way, you lose. Stoic philosophy teaches us to act with justice and reason, not to bend under emotional threats. Marcus Aurelius warned, "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others. Instead, be attentive to the inner voice of reason." This phrase is a weapon used by those who can't handle boundaries. If they need to guilt you into obedience, they don't respect you. They need you controlled. Psychology calls this conditional regard, love with terms, affection with a contract. Real care doesn't demand sacrifice. It honors your choices. So when someone says, "If you really cared," answer with action. Walk away. 7. I guess I'm just a bad person then. This one sounds like surrender, but it's really manipulation. You confront them, you explain what hurt, and instead of accountability, they collapse. I guess I'm just a bad person then. Now you feel guilty for their behavior. And the conversation flips. This is a psychological tactic called defensive self-victimization. It's a way to avoid responsibility by making you the aggressor. The Stoics would reject this game. Epictetus believed that a wise person seeks truth, not pity. Real strength comes from self-awareness, not emotional theatrics. You're not here to rescue someone from their own guilt. You're not a therapist. You're not a fixer. If they weaponize shame to avoid growth, they're not ready for your presence. Step away. Let them face their reflection alone, because someone who refuses to own their impact will never respect your pain. You've heard the words, maybe not all of them, but enough to feel the sting, enough to question your worth. And now you have a choice. You can keep shrinking to keep the peace, or you can reclaim your power and walk away from anything that chips away at your dignity. The Stoics didn't teach us to tolerate emotional chaos. They taught us to master ourselves, to see through illusion, to act with discipline, and above all, to protect our peace like it's sacred, because it is. Don't explain, don't beg, don't debate. Walk away, calm, silent, unshaken. If you're ready to live on your terms and become the strongest version of yourself, subscribe to this channel right now. We drop real, raw content that pushes you to think deeper, live bolder, and act with purpose. And check the description below for powerful personal growth resources that'll help you build your mindset like a fortress. Because respect starts with you. And once you demand it from yourself, no one can take it from you.